Welcome to the Christian Music Bros podcast with Brendan Burke. Join Brendan as he dives deep into the heart of Christian music, exploring the stories behind the songs, the artists who create them, and the faith that inspires it all. Whether you're a lifelong fan or just curious about the genre, Brendan's conversations and insightful commentary will keep you entertained and uplifted. Get ready to discover new favorites and learn more about Christian music. Now here's your host, Brendan Burke.
That was a really cool intro that I just showed off. I made it in my free time. Tell me what you guys think about the new podcast intro. If you guys don't like it, I won't use it again. But if you would love it, let me know. If you don't like it, you don't care. Cool, just let me know. I just thought I would try something new. We're getting really big because this is actually episode 100. So we made it to the 100 episode mark.
Let's go.
And today I'm back with Adam Castro. You guys might have seen Adam. I think this is your fourth or fifth time.
I don't know. I'm a Christian music bro, so I'm gonna probably be here regularly.
And if you won't see Adam every time, but he'll be here like once or twice, maybe a month, or maybe once or twice every couple months. So just thanks for joining again.
Happy to be here, man. Honored. 100th episode, dude. That's such an accomplishment. That's so cool.
It was crazy, like unexpectedly, like as you all know, Brandon left the podcast unexpectedly, so I was in a gray area. I was going to continue with the podcast, and this was episode like 88 range. I was like, I really want to get to the 100 mark, but here we are. So I want to thank you guys all for your support through the 2 years I've been doing this podcast, and let's hope we can try to get another 100 down.
Let's do it, man. I'm excited for you. And I think that even with that, with everything that's happened, I think it only has opened up the doors for so many more Christian music bros to come in and talk with you, and for the family to only get bigger. So I'm really excited for what the next chapter is going to be for this podcast and this channel. So exciting, man.
And speaking of the next chapter, we're going to be trying something new, which is what I'm trying to get more doing with the podcast. We're going to talk about Christian rock bands you should check out. There is going to be a little difference on this. If you're looking for bands like Newsboys, Audio Adrenaline, Jars of Clay, like, oh, they're considered Christian rock, we're not going to include them. And also, if you're looking for people like Convictions, Heal to Hurt, like on my shirt, or like August Burns
Classic Disaster,
Yeah, and August Burns Red and all that, they're probably not going to be included because they're a little heavier. They're great bands. We'll talk a little bit about them probably towards the end for a minute. So if you're like I'm looking for like a heavy metal screamo band, skip towards the end of the episode if you want to hear a little bit about them. But this is more in the realms of like Skillet, Disciple, and Red, and all those.
Yeah, maybe that'll have to be another episode. Maybe that'll have to be another. Let us know in the comments down below if you want a 2.0 of this where it's Christian metal instead.
And there might be video clips of some of these artists. If I don't get copyright, I'm putting this forewarning. I don't own the rights to any of these songs if we talk about them, and if I do find a way to put them in the video. So give all the credit to the artists that released them. So
yeah, definitely. And there's a little game that we're gonna play. So this is not just gonna be like a top 20. We planned on having like a little game. You want to explain it to him?
You could explain the game. You're the guest. You can explain the game this time.
I smell a loophole.
Okay. So it's gonna be kind of like, you remember back in grade school when you're playing baseball, and you everybody would line up and you pick the team captains, and you'd all have to pick one at a time who's on your team. Well, Brendan's gonna be a team captain, and I'm gonna be a team captain, and we're basically gonna pick who our top person is going to be, and if I pick them first, then they're on my team, and if Brendan picks them first, then they're on his team. And maybe we can even be like, hey, whose team wins by the end? Who has the better team in the end? But it's all going to be in the sport of just sharing all of these bands with you. We're both going to talk about them. Brendan's probably had more experience with talking with a lot of these artists, and I've spent years listening to them, so it's going to be a fun conversation overall. But it will be a fun game. There will be a little competitiveness of who's going to get to what band first. And
exactly.
Yeah, so it'll be fun.
I'm sorry, I'm just getting to my notes. Oh, I was getting my notes up because I made some notes.
Getting the roster together.
Yeah, I don't know if you got notes ready, but I'm well prepared. We're going to just start with the white elephant in the room because it's probably the biggest one. We're going to start with Skillet.
Ooh, all right. Okay. Skillet's on his team. All right.
I know, like we always have to go with the banger to first, and Skillet absolutely fits that mold. They've been on Winter Jam a number of times. They've been around since like late '90s, early 2000s. like prime years of Skillet from like 2007, 2012. Like you can't touch that right there. That's like 5 of the best years of Christian rock right there.
They are the pioneers. I think they're probably the biggest right now, hands down. They're loved by everyone, Christian and non-Christian alike, and they make great music. And I can't argue with each and every member being a solid believer. They're all outspoken about their faith. They're not trying to hide it. Man, that's a hard one to beat, bro. They're amazing. They're amazing.
And if you haven't seen Skillet live, if you have a chance to this year, they're going to be at Winter Jam, and they always have put out a killer Winter Jam set list. If you're on West Coast, I'm sorry, Winter Jam doesn't come to the West Coast. Full disclaimer, but
They don't come to the West Coast, bro.
Anymore.
Oh, they used to, but they don't anymore, unfortunately. Skillet does put on one of the best live shows that I've ever been to. Their music is so crowd friendly, like crowd singable. Everybody's into it. Their show is amazing. You can tell that they're having fun with everything that they're doing. Skillet was actually the last show, February of 2020, that I went to before COVID happened, and so I was so thankful that I at least got to see that show before everything had happened. But they put on such an amazing show.
And with that, we're going to also include our favorite song from each of the bands we bring up too. We're going to add that on too. Like this is just for fun, so if you want to check out a song or by this artist, I probably guarantee like 90% of you listening to this know Skillet, but for like the artists you don't know, we're going to recommend a song for them.
Yeah.
I think my favorite is going to be back from, I like Those Nights. That's one of my favorites right there. From the Comatose, I can't pronounce it, album, but
Yeah, Comatose, Those Nights. That's such a great song.
or Not Gonna Die, that's my other follow-up.
Yeah, Not Gonna Die. Fun fact, if you listen to the intro of Not Gonna Die, if you listen to the intro, that was actually their outro on their live CD, Comatose Comes Alive. And I think it was Last Night. I think if you listen to Last Night on their Comatose Comes Alive live CD, the outro of Last Night became the intro of Not Gonna Die. Go check that out. But I know everyone's favorite is probably Feel Like a Monster. I'm gonna crack this open right now because I need it. But I'm gonna have
right now. We had that planned.
Yeah. But I'm gonna actually take some people back. Skillet had some early years of going a little more techno and industrial, and I won't have you dive too deep into that. But go check out The Fire Breathes and Eating Me Away. The Fire Breathes and Eating Me Away. Both of those songs show how amazing Skillet has just always been at writing killer choruses. Just big, massive, wall of guitar sounding choruses. They've just always been so good at that. And I think that you'll pleasantly enjoy those older songs, as well as all the new songs that they've been putting out.
And if we're going to talk about older songs, I like the song Fingernails.
Oh, yeah, that one's great too. Yeah.
Yeah, and I also know Ken Shorts really well personally. He was one of the founding members of Skillet, and he's a really cool dude. So
awesome. So cool.
So right now we have Skillet with one side. Who's your band to pick?
Okay. All right. If you're bringing out Skillet, if we're going with the big guns right out the gate, then I'm going to have to go with my old favorite band, 1,000 Foot Crutch. That's going to be my pick.
That's supposedly making a comeback, but I don't know if it's a true rumor.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I think obviously they're causing a lot of buzz in the news because of their reignited CD, where they've actually had a lot of different features from a lot of different bands come in and sing over their music. I believe that Trevor's vocals are the ones from the record, so that's that. But all the music is all re-recorded. Maybe some stems. Maybe there's some stems that are still there. But all the music's re-recorded, and it's kind of breathing in some new life into the older songs. I'm a diehard TFK fan. They were one of the first Christian rock bands that I ever listened to, and I loved them. I've always loved them. I still listen to them. I think that their writing is so relatable. It's so real and raw. And I know that they've been accused of having like cheesy lyrics, and even I've kind of said like, hey, there's nothing wrong with cheesy lyrics. Like I love it. But when when you really think about what cheesy is, like it's what you want. It's the stuff that tastes good. It's the stuff that sounds good. It feels good. It goes on the radio. You want to hear it again and again and again. And Thousand Foot Crutch has just forever been so good at writing amazing lyrics, music, hooks, choruses, verses. I think they might even be better than Skillet. I got to be honest. So
I could agree with that. I'm a little late to the party, so I didn't start really listening to Christian music till like 2009, 2010. So right around that end is Where We Begin album, like when it first came out.
oh, okay.
Because that came out in like 2012.
Oh,
Fun
so those
fact,
are like newer TFK songs for you.
yeah, so I was more like, I don't know much of their before stuff. It's something I'm diving into currently as we speak. Not like right now, but like when I listen to an album, I dive into that, or old school of the afters, but this is more about rock. I've been diving into
Right.
these older albums. But The End is Where We Begin. If fun fact, this was I think if it was either the fourth or fifth episode Brendan and I did, we dove into this album track by track to talk about each song off this album.
Once again, I am Brendan,
And I'm Braden.
and thank you for tuning in. Today, we're going to be discussing one of my favorite albums, and the album is "The End Is Where We Begin" by Thousand Foot Crutch.
So cool. Yeah.
And like after listening to it the second time, I was like, this is probably one of the greatest rock albums I've heard in a long time. And like there were songs like Be Somebody, Let the Sparks Fly, or Courtesy Call. Those are all bangers of a track.
Dude, Courtesy Call is just like peak level Christian rock for sure.
And like then from there they only have like 2 more albums, and they like just expanded into the wilderness.
Yeah, and to be honest, I think that those 2 albums after that were a lot of like new influences maybe that they were listening to, because I almost feel like those 2 albums leaned a little more country, and not country.
Exactly.
They didn't go full country or anything, but just it feels like maybe if you did listen to country, you'd really like the direction that they were going in. And still solid songs, solid choruses, solid lyrics. I still love listening to what are those? What's that song? The Light Up the Sky.
Yeah, that's a great song. I remember it from the NHL soundtrack. That's when I first heard of Thousand Foot Crutch, believe it or not.
Oh yeah. And then Different Kind of Dynamite, Can't Stop This. There's a River. Like there's so many great songs from their last album, and so catchy, so good, and solid production. If you want to hear an amazing sounding track, go listen to those albums, because they're all just so big and solid, and like they sound amazing. They've just always had an awesome sound. And it's really cool that the band has grown in different directions, because they started off very nu metal. They started off very rap rock.
Like Linkin Park. They were kind of like Linkin Park or Christian music.
Yeah, they were the Linkin Park of Christian music. They were the closest thing to the Linkin Park of Christian music, because I know different people will say that about different bands, but for real, they were probably the closest thing. If you listen to Set It Off or Phenomenon, those especially, it's just like, oh yeah, that was a result of the times, and Trevor did a great job with his vocals. The band did a great job with their music. It's just solid stuff. All of that music is my childhood. All like Set It Off, Phenomenon, The Art of Breaking, even The Flame in All of Us, man. Like those albums are just my childhood. They were my favorite band all the way up until like college, and then they got replaced by some metalcore bands for a while, and then replaced by Disciple. But they're still top 5 favorite band of all time, and like yeah, I'm just in love with the nostalgia. For sure, like it's nostalgic for me,
Right.
but I'm in love with their writing and how good it is. Just good. It's just exactly what you want. So,
And fun fact, I found a signed copy of The End Is Where We Begin at a thrift store like 2 years ago. And I was like,
Oh,
that was
nice.
a crazy find. That was actually like a crazy find. It's like with the original lineup and everything.
oh, that's so cool.
Since this was your band, I'll let you pick the song first before we could dive into the
Cool.
next.
Yeah. I know a good amount. Okay. Actually, I'm going to lead you to this one song. It's probably one of my favorite songs by Thousand Foot Crutch. I hesitate to say my favorite, but it is my favorite intro. I'll say this. It's my favorite intro by Thousand Foot Crutch. It's not on any other albums, but it's on a compilation CD, and the song is called Complicate You. Sorry, I was trying to figure out, is it Complicate Me or
Yeah, good.
Complicate You? It's Complicate You. Okay, Complicate You. Great song. It's on one of their compilation CDs. And again, this is like TFK. Like they have amazing songs, but then even their B-side, like songs you don't even know are out there, they're still even better. Like honestly, there's a bunch of songs like Complicate You, Shook, for those of you who know the song Shook, which is on the deluxe version of their Welcome to the Masquerade album. Just great songwriting. I could go into the weeds of so much TFK stuff, but there's some fun facts about that song too. But they're just so good. If you were to start on an album with Thousand Foot Crutch, I actually honestly think that I think for Skillet, you know how Skillet, Awake and Alive is probably their biggest album. Like it was the album that kind of shot them into relevance in the mainstream world and everything with Monster and all that stuff. But if you ask a bunch of people, I think that most people would say like, oh, Comatose is probably their best album. Comatose is like, it had all the elements that made them made them a really amazing epic band. That's how
I think that was the first album with John Ledger too, with Skillet.
Okay, yeah. I think that with Thousand Foot Crutch, The End Is Where We Begin was like Awake and Alive. That's the album that kind of shot them into more relevance, into mainstream. That's when they went independent. That's when they that's when they blew up and everything. But I think that Welcome to the Masquerade is their Comatose. Like Welcome to the Masquerade, there's not a bad song on that album. It's so good, amazing songs. And I think it has everything that makes Thousand Foot Crutch amazing, all in that one album. So I'd say go listen to that album too.
My song, I'm just going to touch on it. I've touched on this song briefly, but Be Somebody is my favorite song. It was the first song I ever heard with them, and I just fell in love with them from there. And that's how I kind of discovered Thousand Foot Crutches. I just heard that song. I was like, who is this person on my radio station? And so I looked it up. It was them, and that's how I fell in love with them. So nice and easy for me.
Yeah. Oh, and one more thing I'll say, just last thing. Even something so awesome like that, like Be Somebody. The song says, we all want to be somebody. And they're words that you kind of want to say. They're words that maybe you didn't even know were the words to what you were feeling. Like Trevor just does an amazing job of putting your feelings to words, and that song is a great song that highlights that for sure. That's all I'll say. I'm done. Tap me out.
So I'm gonna go with a little smaller band because there's some big names we'll still bring up. Like we still have 3 big names I can think of right off my bat right now. You probably can think of the 3 names I can say right now.
I'll steal them. Yeah, and it's all good.
You can steal them. But I'm going to go with a little smaller act this time. But there is a band called House of Heroes.
Okay, yeah.
So we're gonna go there. Oh, and we're gonna just touch on them briefly. I haven't been listening to them a lot and longer than a lot. Some of you old rock heads have listened to, but I just discovered them within the last 2 years recently, and I just think they're really hard, pretty heavy, and everything. Sorry,
go
I'm
to my
off my
notes.
table. But By Your I'm on my notes. Sorry, guys. I'm on my notes. I have notes on my phone. But By Your Side is a great song, and I think their first 3 albums are like really good. I found them at a thrift store as well because I collect Christian CDs. I found them at a thrift store, played them all, and I just think they're a really good band.
Yeah, House of Heroes wasn't a band that I was introduced to until way later, so they're a lot newer for me. But they're solid. I've listened to them. They're solid. They're a great sound. Definitely go check them out. I was looking up some more information from Ohio. Woo, representing Ohio. What was the first album that you heard?
Repeat, sorry.
What was the first album that you heard?
Okay, now you're gonna have to make me. I know the song name. I only have song names, and I don't have album names on. Let me give me 1 second. I'm googling it right now because I didn't come prepared with song. I only came prepared with song names, but they're from Columbus. That's the only downside. I'm a Michigan fan, and when you're in Michigan, you don't like Columbus. But the album was "The End Is Not the End."
Okay.
Sorry, I have all the song. I have like they're like a newer band I'm listening to. But I think it's some band that some people should check out if you're just looking out for like a band that like didn't make as much waves as Skillet or TFK, etc.
Yeah, yeah. I hear you there.
And then I already touched based on my favorite song with them. Do you have a favorite song from them?
I'm looking. I think if I remember, I'm gonna browse just for a second because again I'm not too familiar.
And this is what we want to give you guys. We want to give you some bands that we're not familiar with, but that you might be familiar with, or you haven't heard of too, and you can check out new artists. That's the fun about this video.
Yeah.
I have By Your Side, and then my other favorite one is So Far Away. Those are my two favorite songs from them.
I think By Your Side would probably be mine as well. If it's, yeah. Yeah, I think that one would probably be my favorite one too.
Cool.
I apologize, you guys. I'm not too familiar with. Obviously, if you are not familiar, then we're both on the same page. We need to go check them out and listen to them more.
But before we go, they're averaging 40,000 monthly listeners on Spotify still, so they're still kind of relevant.
Yeah, they're still active, man, or they're still relevant. I think they look. I just looked up that they're not active anymore as a band, but as we have seen, just because you're not active now doesn't mean that you won't be active in the future.
Exactly.
So maybe if there's a influx of listeners and we get them up to, 50,000, 60,000, 80,000, 100,000, maybe they'll come back.
And they were with Go-To Records too. So if you're familiar with Go-To Records, that's Toby Mac's label.
Oh, nice. Yep.
So we're gonna carry on to the next band. It's your turn.
Okay. So if you went with a little bit of an unknown, I'll do the same. This is a band that was broken up, got back together, and broke up again. And we are in 3.0 version of the band now because they just got back together again. So this is an active band, but an older unknown. Okay. So I'm going to go with, oh no, am I frozen?
You froze, now you're black.
Oh no.
You went dark.
Oh no. See?
No wonders the technology.
The word, they don't want to get the word out. Give me 1 second.
You're good. And like
It's okay. I know what the problem is.
It's okay.
I gotta turn the light on. That's why.
This is what the fun part about my podcast. We're not like a business casual meeting. We're like just casual chilling and whatever. Oh, look, a new angle.
A new angle. My camera died. That I used to film myself. So you're gonna get the raw MacBook Pro camera that obviously needs to get cleaned a
Join the
little
club. He's at a MacBook Pro.
Perfect. Okay, so obviously Satan doesn't want us to know this band. So so here we go.
I know who you're going with. I have a feeling I know who you're going with.
Waverly.
Oh, no.
Okay. So
I was thinking of
Waverly.
a band that started with the P that you just got back together.
Oh no, not yet. We were going with the unknown. Oh, they're not unknown.
But I'm just saying we were going that route. I thought that's where you were going to go.
For sure.
They just broke up. You said they broke up and they got back together. So that's
right.
Head went.
Right. So Waverly is a band that where did they come from? Where are they from? Let me double check real quick. But Waverly is a band that if you like that old school like Skillet comatose sound, the red kind of sound with strings and rock, then I think that you'll really love the Waverly sound because they have an album called Conquering the Fear of Flight, and it is exactly that. They do it so well. They do a great job of blending in that rock and strings kind of epic sound. They came out with an EP in 2011 and it went a little bit more like alternative rock direction and kind of stayed there for their music. They broke up, hadn't been together in a long time, and they just got back together and they released a new song called Enemies. And I haven't touched on it on my YouTube channel, Sanctify Studios, yet. I'm going to be doing a reaction and everything to it. But they're an amazing band, so emotional, so epic. The lyrics are amazing. The lead singer actually used to be a part of Audio Adrenaline. He used to be a part of Audio Adrenaline, and He's a worship leader now. He has another group called Renew Creative. Just solid guys, solid band. I'm not finding where they're from, but
You're good. To be honest with you, I've never heard of this band until you brought them up right now.
Oh, cool. No, I'm glad.
So I'm just listening, and I was looking them up on
See?
Spotify. Like I said, I have Spotify up on my phone too, just because it's easier to, instead of going on the web browser, because I don't want things to automatically play or something if I click on it.
Yeah. Honestly, if you heard the song "Praise and Adore You," you might know who they are, because that was the big song that was pushed in Christian radio, Air One at the time. "Praise and Adore You" is a real beautiful song. And I'll go ahead and just go into my favorite song because it'll be hard to talk about it, obviously, if both of us don't know it, but they have just real lyrics. I think the EP has a lot of relationship kind of lyrics. So if you just went through a breakup, if you're going through a real difficult kind of relationship, then that EP is really good. It feels like their new music is going to focus more on relationships in a grander, more macro sense, like enemies that you might have politically or religiously. Like, hey, let's try to have more of a Christian mindset towards all this kind of stuff. So more general and bigger. But in their Conquering the Fear of Flight album, there's just so much beautiful lyrical goodness there. There's a song called "Time I Understood" that I constantly go back to when I'm going through a difficult time in my life, because it literally asks the question, like, why did you take this away? I wanted it. Show me that there's no reason to be afraid. I know that it's gone. And it kind of goes through this journey of when you have something taken away or someone taken away and you're hurt by that, but you trust God through that, and there's this beautiful instrumental part. So "Time I Understood," my favorite song by them, amazing stuff, but their newer stuff is amazing too. So go check out Waverly.
I'm definitely really glad. And Waverly is a cool get. Like I said, I never heard of them. I'm going to just touch on two smaller bands. We're not going to have time much to talk about, but two small bands I was going to bring up was We As Human was one of them.
Okay, cool.
And then from there, I also was going to do Sent by Ravens.
Hey.
So those are two bands. If you are looking for like a band with like one or two albums, those bands are perfect, and they kind of fit that Waverly mold that we're talking about.
Are those going on your list?
I'm just talking about them briefly. We're not going to.
Okay, gotcha.
I'm just saying I would love to talk about them, but just for time restraints and everything, we're not going to talk about them.
Okay.
But if you want to listen to
both amazing bands, yeah, really good.
Listen to both, and if you want to listen to Sent by Ravens, because you probably know of We As Human, if you want to listen to a song by Sent by Ravens, I recommend the song "Rebuild, Re-Release" or "Mean What You Say." We're gonna go back to a little bigger band. I'm gonna steal the elephant in the room, but I'm gonna go with Disciple. I was gonna say Seventh Day Lover, but I went with Disciple.
Ooh.
Never was the picture of a model son, a crooked criminal that caught holding the gun. It got so hard to see the truth from all the lies, slowly becoming more and more what I despise. I never should have left my foot inside the door, never contented, always craving something more. I feel the darkness closing in on every side. It's time for something deep inside of me to die. The executioner puts the cross upon my back.
See, that was his tactic. He was going to do a smaller band so that I was going to do a smaller band so that he could steal it.
No promises. I'm not going to say anything. Nope. But no, I'm just like switching it up a little bit. Like everyone knows Disciple. I feel like they're now the new face of Christian rock of what it's come and become.
Yeah.
What it's become. They were on Winter Jam 2 years ago now, back in 2022, and they also kind of, I don't know if you want to count this in Disciple. They do a good worship set too. They do Honor and Glory. A lot of the members,
of course, yeah, same guys. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, they're the same guys. So we'll include that in, but we're just gonna say Disciple as a whole. They have really cool worship songs. They have really hard hitting songs. I think their album Horseshoe and Hand Grenades is one of the best Christian rock albums to ever come out.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I feel like Horseshoes and Hand Grenades was that like Skillet Awaken Alive for sure. That pushed them into
Mhm.
relevance all around the world. Great songwriting, great amazing musicianship. That was Disciple 2.0 with Micah Sanin, who from Falling Up, which is really cool.
And
Oh, go ahead.
Andrew Welch is a good friend of mine. He was a guitarist off that album, and he was on the podcast too. So make sure to check that episode out as well.
Hey everyone, welcome again to the Christian Music Bros podcast. I'm Braden, and this is my co-host Brendan.
I'm Brendan, not Braden.
And today we're with a special guest, Andrew Welch.
Hey, what's up?
Not much. Thank you for joining us here.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for having me. This is awesome.
Dude,
That was like-
Andrew Welch is the man. He's so cool. He's
Yeah,
such a
and
cool dude.
me and him text each other every so often just to keep in touch and everything.
Yeah,
He's a professor now.
he's so cool, man. He's an amazing guitar player, and I think I actually first saw him in Disciple, but I didn't know that he was involved with like Capital Lights, and then
He was with TFK at one point too as a guitarist.
and he ended up being part of TFK. Yeah, so he's just the man. He's awesome. He's a professor. He was a comedian. He's just a cool dude. He just does everything.
Jack
So
of all trades.
go check him out. But yeah, Disciple dude. Oh yeah, 2.0 was great. 3.0 is amazing. Andrew Stanton and Josiah Prince being a part of the crew, I think has breathed in a chaotic new life. Because Andrew Stanton's crazy with the guitar, Josiah Prince is crazy when it comes to production and ideas, and I think that as a frontman of a band, I imagine that when you've got a band that's that big and you've got that many people listening and you've got a lot of weight on your shoulders, as Kevin at that point for Horseshoes and Hand Grenades, and right now is the only like original member of the band, who you surround yourself with has to be people who are like in it. They're in it. They're pro you, they're pro the band, they're pro the ministry, all of that stuff. And I feel like Andrew Stanton and Josiah Prince are just so that. Like they love Kevin, they love Disciple.
And Josiah's a big producer nowadays too. Like he does a lot with all these other rock bands. Nowadays.
Yeah. And even Joey West on the drums, like same thing. He loves you could tell like there's just this brotherhood within the band. They look like brothers, and that's so cool to see. And I think that has come out through the music itself in just how explosive it is, how fun it is, how epic it is. And yeah, they're amazing. That's why they're my favorite band.
I did not know that they were your favorite band, actually, believe it or not.
Yeah. I've been saying it since I started the channel. Disciple, like
I watched some of their channel. I haven't watched everything. There's a lot of videos, and I just have ADHD, so I have a short attention span.
Oh, it's all good, dude. It's all good. No, Disciple is my favorite band because of their hearts and their ministry and their music. Like, it's all good. It's all amazing, and they've constantly reinvented themselves through every album. Their heart has constantly been for ministry, but they still have a good time. They still do breakdowns and solos and all of that stuff, and worship. Like that, if I were to be in a band for the rest of my life, like Disciple would be the kind of band I'd want it to be. And yeah.
And for those who are listening, at the time of this recording, Honor and Glory is nominated for a Grammy this year. That's pretty cool.
So crazy, dude. That's so awesome.
And I think it's really cool. And I think all their albums are really good. Like there's a song I like on each album. There's like 5 songs on each album. Like I even have their EP, My Daddy Can Whip Your Daddy EP. Like that was a fantastic EP in which it's different. So if you're looking for different, but still like that's from. But my 2 favorite songs from are, and I can't pick one. It's either Promise to Live, which has been a big anthem nowadays, or 3, 2, 1.
Oh, dude, 3, 2, 1's that's a party song for sure. I can't even put into 1 or 2 songs my favorite ones. I will say this again. I love like the extra stuff. Everybody hears the normal stuff, but the extra stuff is always cool. make sure that you listen to Enemy. That was on the deluxe version of Love Letter Kill Shot.
That's a great song too. That was one I was going to bring up.
It's so good. Andrew Stanton did that solo, and it's my favorite Disciple solo. Right underneath is First Love, and I'd say maybe that'll be my second one, First Love. So we'll say Enemy and First Love, because both of those songs are so good and they're so different. Like Enemy is about like the end, like is about like I think it's about the enemy inside of us, the enemy in my head, and how you can feel crazy. I'm blanking out on the words for a minute here, but the song itself is crazy. It's chaotic. It's epic and crazy and all this stuff. First Love is like beautiful and epic, and it's not as chaotic, but it's still got energy to it. And the solo just makes you cry because it's so good. So yeah, they're both amazing.
And I have a feeling they're going to be putting out new music here next year at the time of this recording of 2024. Just saying. New music soon.
Yeah, I do think within the next either few days or months, weeks or months, because I had called it on my channel. I was like, hey, they're going to do a deluxe version of this one. Why would they not do it? Because on the last album, they did deluxe, and Darkness Dies, which is another one of their songs from their deluxe version, ended up being like their biggest song. So why would they not do the same thing? And I think there's a song called Ready for War or War.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about. I just can't think of the name on top of my head right now because I didn't have it in my notes, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, there's a war song, and I heard them talking about it on the Rebel Society, one of their Rebel Society videos. I'm a Rebel Society member, by the way, so if you want to support the band, go be another Rebel Society member with me. But they were talking about it, and I'm so stoked for it. I'm so excited to hear this song. I haven't heard it yet, and whenever they put it out, like I'm gonna
say it's probably right after the holidays, because right now it's quite Christmas music central, and I'm not the biggest fan of Christmas music, but more power to them.
Oh no. Oh, it's all good. It's all good. They did a version of Mary Did You Know that's also in their Rebel Society Patreon. So if you are into Christmas music and you want to hear Mary Did You Know by Disciple, I do believe that's there in the Patreon still, and they might do the same thing this year. So Classic Disaster loves Christian music, or loves Christmas music. I'll announce it here. I don't know when this video is going to come out, but we are going to do a Christmas cover. So if you do like that kind of stuff, check us out. So anyway,
make sure to check it out. I'll be sharing our page and everything. So
cool.
But it's your turn, I believe.
It is my turn. Okay. Well, fine. If you're going to go with Disciple, if you're going to go with another heavy hitter, then I'm going to go with another heavy hitter. We're going with the band you thought I was going to mention, I'm pretty sure. Pillar.
And the band that's been making a comeback in the last couple of months.
That's right, baby.
They only did like three tour dates. They only done like 3 tour dates, but I think they're getting back, the full lineup's getting back together after the holidays, I heard.
Yeah.
I've been trying. I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but I've been trying to get them for the podcast, and they said they've been really busy working on things, but they're hoping to be on the podcast soon.
Cool. Yeah, dude, that's so exciting. Yeah, they're one of those bands where you're not surprised to hear like what they've been up to. I'm not surprised to hear that Lester Estelle is playing drums for Kelly Clarkson. I'm not surprised to hear that Noah Henson, their guitarist, is playing guitar for a big country artist. Brantley Gill. Yeah, I'm not surprised because they're amazing musicians. They wrote amazing songs. I'm not surprised that Rob ended up being a pastor and he's this awesome dude. And I'm not surprised that Michael Wittig is finding success in like everything that he touches. He's a bodybuilder. He's an actor. He's doing all this crazy stuff. He was doing, I think, music management for a while too. Like it. Mm-hmm. These guys are awesome. They're going to be successful at whatever they do, and wasn't surprised at any of that. By the grace of God, they decided to get back together and do a couple shows, and it looks like we may even be getting some new music from them as well. So that's just exciting.
I'm so excited. I'm just getting high.
And I see a theme with this, where a lot of these bands have either broken up and gotten back together, or go through like 3 different stages. And this is the new stage for Pillar, I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like they released Whatever It Takes is the song I'm going to bring up for my favorite song. So I want to talk about it right here right now.
Cool,
Like Whatever It Takes was my first ever song I heard with them. But that whole Confession album was like the first album I ever really heard by them, and it's like a great album.
Yeah. That was one that they were pushing a lot for Camp Electric. They were pushing the marketing for that one a lot. That was actually when the bass members weren't a part of the band, and I don't remember who filled in for them for that album. I just remember that the bassist had like a pink mohawk, and Noah Henson was still on guitar. But dude, their drummer was jacked. This drummer dude would like beat the drums. He would hit the drums, and you'd be worried about the drum set, how heavy he would hit. And I don't know who that drummer is. I got to figure out because he was in a Jack in the Box commercial. Fun fact.
I don't think it's not Lester. I don't think it's Lester.
No, that wasn't Lester. When for the Confession album, Lester might have done the recordings on that album. I'm not sure. But the touring drummer, because Lester ended up leaving and Michael Wittig ended up leaving, they have had a second guitarist before, and I think that's just kind of been like here and there, whoever ended up taking on the opportunities and stuff. But Noah Henson stayed with the band, and he was their guitarist. But that drummer dude, he was just he had the anime hair, and he was buff, and he hit the drums with fierce ferocity. And he was in a Jack in the Box commercial. I don't know who it is.
The name of the drummer is Taylor Carroll.
Okay. Yeah, he's a cool dude. I saw them at Six Flags over here in California, and they played a show with that group. And I was like, dang, I'm worried about his drum set. He has like 3 extra snares, right, just in case.
And the crazy thing is they have 2 covers off the album. It's only like a 10 album song, but 2 of the songs are covers.
Yeah, and good ones.
Like Shine by Collected Soul is like one of the big covers. And I want to do, there's this thing I'm working on for this podcast channel. I was announcing now. I'm going to try to find someone to sit down with me, but I want to talk about like Christian music covers. So like Stars Go Din did a cover of No Matter What from The Greatest Showman. So, or For King and Country doing Out of the Woods by Taylor Swift. I want to do a video about like Christian covers.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, that'd be really cool. Yeah, they did such a great job. They're great musicians. Yeah, my favorite song, if yours is Whatever It Takes, I think my favorite song, if you were to listen to them, I would say go back to the Reckoning album and get a taste of some of that southern feel that they had back in the Reckless Youth. Yeah, there we go. Let's go with Reckless Youth. Check that song out. Because it's epic, it's fun, it's got a great solo, it's got some southern vibe to it, but it's high energy as well. Reckless Youth.
And make sure to follow Pillar Journey. They've been posting a lot on their social media page lately, so make sure to follow their journey as well.
Yeah. They're gonna blow up again, and I don't know if they'll actually go back to touring. They don't need to do Pillar. They really don't need to do Pillar. Like we said, Noah Henson is with what's his name again? Brantley
Gilbert.
Yeah. And they're super successful. Lester Estelle does drum production for a bunch of different bands, a bunch of different Christian bands too. But he's playing drums for Kelly Clarkson, dude. Like he doesn't need to join another band. He's good, Right. So it's just really cool that they're doing this, and it's definitely a grace from God that they're back together and that we could potentially be getting more music from them.
We're gonna give the ladies a turn. So I'm gonna talk about a female-led rock band right here.
Okay.
There's 2 bands you might think I want to go. One of them I'm not gonna bring up. I'm just gonna bring up. I'm not gonna choose them. It's Fireflight. Dawn Michelle was on our podcast back here in January. But anyway, we have a special guest today. This is Dawn Michelle from Fireflight. So I will let her introduce herself and everything very quick.
Hi everyone, it's me, Dawn Michelle. Just getting the year started. My Christmas went really well, in so much that none of my children threw up or got sick, and neither did my brother who came into town, or my dad, or my mom. So when you get to be a mom, if you have a holiday and no one gets sick, it's really a great success no matter what else happens. So I'm pretty thankful.
And it's really cool. They're a good rock band, and they've released numerous singles, and they're starting to make a comeback again themselves. So that's cool. But the band I'm going to go with is the Letter Black.
Okay, cool.
So like everyone knows like Firefly, but The Letter Black with Sarah Anthony and everything. Her latest album, Born for This, is one of my favorite Christian rock albums, and they did like a really good collaboration with TFK, Trevor from TFK, and everything on the album and everything.
Yeah, they are a solid, heavy band. Like I even think that they're kind of right there on the edge of rock and metal, and obviously not like super metalcore or anything like that. But if you listen to some of their songs, like whoa, like she can scream, she can belt it out, she can sing, she sings great. But then the music side of it too, like there's some heavy riffs, there's some heavy breakdowns, there's some big wall of guitar sounds. Like they're right there on the edge, man. They're good. They're really
and they
good.
came out around like 2010, so like the end of like they came out around like the same time as like TFK was ending their first big record run or whatever you want to say, and then like when Skill was making a big name. And I feel like they were in the shadows of all those big bands. Like that's when Disciple started getting more popular.
Yeah. I got to see them live once. They opened for Skillet back in the day over here in California, and they put on a really, really great show. They had a different name, and I forgot what it was called. They had a different name, and they just had recently named their band The Letter Black. And I think it was one of those things where like another band had the same name, so they had to rebrand and do everything. But
their name was Breaking the Silence.
Okay, yeah. So that was right when the change happened, and I was like, it's so cool. It's kind of cool. Like when you have a name change, people will go and look it up, and it like builds some lore. You know, like it's a cool thing. But they put on a great show, got their album, listened to it, loved it. The writing was very like TFK like too. Like they put to words feelings that you had about things, were really real about emotions and stuff. And so I loved that style of writing. So they're a great band.
And they opened up for Skillet in 2009. So right when Awaken Alive was coming out and everything, that's when they first came out.
Oh, okay. So that was probably when I saw them. Yeah. Yep. 2009.
Favorite song from them for me. This is not like a popular one, but I liked it a lot. It's Found. I like Found. That's a great song off their Painkiller album.
What's the one for me?
And Hanging by a Thread is also a good song, but
oh yeah, that's their biggest song for sure.
That's their biggest song, but it's just a banger.
Let's see.
Oh, my bad. The album was Found from the Rebuild album, not Painkiller. Painkiller was a track before that. That was my bad, my guys.
Okay. Let's see. Album. Dude, that whole Pain album is scary. Yeah. It's so heavy. It's
that's the one album I have not listened yet by them. It's on my list to listen to soon.
Okay. Yeah, it's scary, dude. It's got some cool like she goes crazy with the screams, and they add in a bunch of fun sound effect stuff. Like, oh yeah. It's a fun album to listen to around Halloween for sure. Let's see. I'm gonna take it back. And I'm gonna say, let's go with Hanging On by a Thread album. And which one would I pick? Dude, there's so many, like, if you're going through a toxic relationship, I think this whole Hanging On by a Thread album is perfect to listen to. If I had to pick one, though, I'm going to say let's go with My Disease. Real catchy song.
Yep. That's the other one I have about. That was the other one in my notes. So
yeah, real catchy song, My Disease, or even like Care Too Much. Yeah, they're all really good, but those were the ones I remember for sure. Like repeats all the time. Mm-hmm. Loved hearing those songs. All right,
your turn.
Okay, so
this one and two more each after this. So
all right, yeah, let's do it. So I'm going to say, since you didn't pick them, I'm going to go ahead and pick them, is Fireflight. I'll have them on my team.
Okay.
And one thing I want to say about Fireflight is that, if you listen to bands and their albums, a lot of times there's a compilation of like really, really good songs. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like Memphis Mayfire does it all the time. Like they release song by song by song, and sometimes the songs come together and they paint a picture of a specific message, and sometimes they don't, right? What I really appreciated about Fireflight is that they seem like every album has a message to it. Like every album has a focus, and it resonates really well from start to finish. When you listen to the album start to finish, you really feel that sense. So fun fact, Fireflight was one of the first bands that I also listened to when I got into Christian rock. And they were, as a guitar player, they were one of the first bands where I was like, I think I can do that. I think I can play that line. I think I can play that riff and that lead part. And I was learning Unbreakable and Stand Up, and a bunch of their songs, even from their first album. It was really cool to see them live and to see their dynamic between the two girls singing and the guy having his vocals in there too. Like they had such a great sound. And I've found them to be just a really solid band to listen to for musicianship, to uplift you. Yeah, they're just solid all around.
And the crazy thing is, when we were talking about Unbreakable, that song actually made it to the top 20 in the Billboard Hot 100, which you don't see that a lot in the Christian music space, Christian music or Christian rock space, to be specifically, honestly, like in the like top 100 charts.
Yeah,
there with like Bieber, Lady Gaga, and all those people.
Yeah. So they're one of my favorite bands still, and my favorite song for you to go and check out. I'll give you two, because one's a heavy song and one's a softer one. Both from the same album. For Those Who Wait came out in 2010, and check out Fire in My Eyes, and check out What I've Overcome. Fire in My Eyes and What I've Overcome.
Both of those are really good songs, and that's a whole good album. The song I would have chose by them is one of their newer songs. I just like the message. It's the Keep Your Head Up song from their newer album, Who We Are, The Head and the Heart.
Perfect, yeah.
And I'm like big on those mental health, like awareness songs and like all that. Like I'm a big fan of Shinedown. They're like my favorite band I've seen. They're not a Christian band. This is not a Christian band, but I'm just talking about them for me. So I'm like big on those like mental health awareness songs, like Daylight by Shinedown, or Keep Your Head Up by like Firefly and all those. So
yeah, so good, so good.
And here's another female-led rock band that you might know. I'm not gonna choose them. I'm just gonna touch them on briefly. This is probably the most white elephant in the room, I guess. But Lacey Sturm and Flyleaf is also a good choice right there.
Oh yeah, for sure.
If you want to still talk about them later, we can talk about them later. But I'm gonna be shifting the gears to my next act. I'm just saying that's another band I recommend.
Go for it, man.
The next album, I know this is gonna be an obvious pick, but I'm gonna go with Seventh Day Slumber.
Hey.
I had Joseph on the podcast here a couple months ago, and he's a really cool dude. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Christian Music Bros podcast. I'm Brendan.
And I'm Brandon. Welcome to the podcast, everyone.
And we are the B&B Bros. I don't know, Brandon. I thought of a new name for us for once, you know?
I mean, it works. We both have it, so might as well own it.
So why not? We're the B&B Bros, and you're listening to the B&B Bros podcast, I guess. Nah, that doesn't apply as well. But anyway, we are here with a very special guest. I'm actually representing them on my shirt today. So I'm going to let our special guest introduce themselves.
What's up, man? I'm Joseph with the band Seventh Day Slumber. I'm glad to be here.
Thank you for joining us today.
Oh, absolutely, man. Thanks for having me.
We're working with Rockfest Records, but the thing that amazes me most, they had a different lineup. Joseph's now touring with his son, which is really cool, and who's doing music in his own right. And then with like Weston and Ken, they're all just like a great big family. I like the earlier stuff. I like the new stuff. Like everything's different. Like it sounds different. If you go back to, what's the name of that song? Sorry, I can't think of it. Caroline. There. Oh yeah. The name of the song. You go like listen to Caroline, but then if you go to now, they're new heavier stuff like Halos or Bullet Man for me. They transition into like. I listen to a lot of non-Christian rock, so if I offended you saying this because I host this Christian music podcast, I apologize. But they went from like, they're kind of like the Christian music is stained if you listen to like non-Christian rock.
Yeah. They're another one of those bands where like, if you would have listened to them 10, 15 years ago, you'd be like, oh yeah. contemporary Christian and maybe a little Christian rock, you know. And then if you listen to them now, it's like, whoa, these guys almost sound metalcore, you know, like their music is amazing. The
But-
production is so good. Yeah.
And on top of that, we kind of touched just based on Disciple. They're another one of those bands that do worship songs really well with the rock twist.
Yeah.
Like they have like 3 different worship albums on top of like their normal rock albums, but they add like a rock twist to it, and it all like blends really well together.
Yeah. Yeah. So good. They are definitely, when I'm in the gym and I want to listen to worship music, I've got my worship workout playlist, and they have a monopoly over that playlist for sure. With just real big, heavy sounding guitars, great epic versions of the songs. Yeah, they're amazing. And yeah, they're a band that also is very ministry minded. When they go out, Joseph Rojas shares his testimony, and he makes it a point to have an altar call, gives the gospel, gives an opportunity for people to respond to it. And definitely another band that makes ministry at the forefront of their music, but not at the expense of the music, because the music, again, is just so amazing. Kellen McGregor from Memphis Mayfire does a lot of the mix and mastering of their music, and so he's done a great job of making sure that they sound like perfect, epic, big, you know, explosive, and it sounds amazing. Yeah.
And my favorite song by them, I like Caroline, even though I couldn't name it. It's my favorite, one of my favorite ones. But my personal favorite right now that I've been just going back and playing back and forth. Like they're one of the bands I'll actually play like on and on and on. Like if to say this, they are probably my favorite Christian rock band. I wasn't gonna choose them originally because I was like, they're kind of like everyone knows who they are. They're kind of like that skill, like everyone knows who they are. But just the big impact they've had on the community, their Joseph's testimony, and how much they have matured as an artist, it has impressed me, to say the least. But Halos is my favorite song from them right now.
Oh, dude, yeah, Halos hits the heartstrings for sure. Yeah.
That music video have you seen the music video for that song? It's just
yeah.
Up and everything. And it's like just an amazing, serious, like heartbreaking or heart-wrenching music video.
Yeah. I don't know if I've ever mentioned it here on the Christian Music Bros podcast, but my wife and I lost our child 10 weeks within a 10-week pregnancy back in 2022, and this is one of those songs. You know, like I made a playlist. I made 2 playlists when that happened on my music, because when something like that happens, it's real heavy, and you kind of want songs that both sit with you in your emotion, that kind of sit next to you in what you're feeling. And maybe those feelings are anger, maybe those feelings are confusion. You know, you have songs that sit with you there, but then you also kind of have songs that you want to lift you out of it, to give you a positive perspective, to have hope. And so I made 2 playlists, and the beautiful thing about this song is that it kind of could go on any playlist, because on either one of those 2, because it was a song that sat with you in those feelings, but it also provided hope as well. And
Exactly.
And yeah, I remember watching that music video, and you know, we all are going to go through hardship. We all are going to lose people in our lives. And it's a beautiful thing when we can all come together and share in sitting with each other in that. And obviously not the same kind of situation. Like we didn't have a conversation with our child or anything, but the emotion from that song was something I really resonated with. And yeah, just they do a great job of creating that kind of connection with their listeners.
And for those who are watching, if I don't get copyrighted, here's a sneak peek at the music video. I played a little bit of a sneak peek of the music video. I don't know if I'm going to, but it might be popping up in this video. So if you're watching, I do not own the rights to the song. It all owns Joseph Rojas, the whole Rockfest record. But I want to show you what we mean.
Perfect.
Sorry, this is just a raw recording, guys. So if you're like, there's nothing here, sorry, this is just how we record.
I know. If it doesn't happen, sorry. But
I'm just trying to show you to put our point together.
Yeah. My favorite song from them, it's hard to even. Seventh Day Slumber is one of those bands too, where I used to like try to learn the guitar parts for them. So it's so cool that it's so cool to know that they've grown as a band, not just in their musicianship and style, but the complexity of their music. I got a buddy, Jason Wayne, who got a chance to tour with them for a while Weston was taking a break. And I remember, I don't know if you knew, but they posted that they were looking for someone to kind of give Weston a break. And I was like, oh, maybe I could do that. Maybe I could play those songs. I couldn't learn the new ones, dude. Or at least I knew that it was going to take me a long time to learn them. And I was like, they need somebody who can just go in and do it now. Jason Wayne ended up being able to do that with them, and super jealous. He's an awesome dude. It was good. It was a good opportunity for him. And I think watching him play those songs really made me fall in love with the new version of Seventh Day Slumber all over again, because you can have an appreciation hearing it, but you also have a new appreciation like on the music side of just like, man, this is just so well written and so well done. So with that being said, Death by Admiration, go listen to that song, and Surviving the Wasteland. Go listen to those two songs. And pay attention to the guitar parts, because those guitar parts are so cool and they're so awesome and they're so hard to play.
That whole new album, or whole new album this year they released this year, Wasteland Paradise, or how I don't remember the exact wording of it.
Fractured Paradise, yeah.
Fractured Paradise, sorry. Surviving the Wasteland's on that album and everything, but all these songs blend together with album names. There's like 800 songs, but but that whole album is it's in my top 5 albums of the year, like in all music. So
it's so epic. It's so heavy, and it's good stuff, man.
But like if you go back to like what I said like earlier, like listen to something like Caroline and you listen to that, you're gonna be like, what the heck?
I know, right? Like, is this even the same band? Yeah. They are definitely a very diversified kind of band for sure.
Exactly. And we have one more time for you to pick one more band, and I'm gonna bring up some quick rapid fire bands, and then we'll go end this video.
Okay. So let's see. You've got Skillet, House of Heroes, Disciple, Letter Black, and 7 Day Slumber. I've got 1,000 Foot Crutch, Waverly Pillar, and Fireflight. I think that here's what I'm going to do. We got one more pick. I'm going with Cutlass.
Great band. I mean, that's slowly making a comeback. Like they posted that new song in like 2021 with Kevin Young and Disciple and everything, but then they went dark again. I don't know if dark, but they went like dark again. But then they're making a comeback again, supposedly slowly. Like they're posting things here and there, but there's not like any rumors of a comeback.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm friends with Nate Parrish. He's over here in California, and he's got his own solo punk rock project. Go check him out, Nate Parrish.
He was actually on the podcast, so make sure to watch the episode with Nate Parrish as well. Once again, I'm Brendan, and thank you for tuning in. Today I'm with Nate Parrish, so we're going to just let Nate introduce himself right away.
What is up? I am Nate Parrish. Good to be here. Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, I saw that one for sure. He's a bro. He's an awesome dude, very friendly, and a like he's a goofball, man. He just wants to have a good time, and he's so much fun. He's like family to be around for sure. And
your crazy uncle that you would
tall with Thor hair. He's a full package, you guys. So go check him out. Go check out his project. I think he's releasing new music too, and he has been working with Josiah Prince as well with his production stuff, and his stuff just sounds amazing. But anyways, he plays guitar for Cutlass as well, and I haven't heard anything about what's going to happen. I know I had an interview with James Mead, and he was really excited about the new songs. I was really excited about the new songs, and yeah, it looks like they kind of went dark. But I think that the reason why, and again, guys, like this whole band thing, this whole making music, especially when you've been broken up and you come back, and it's not like any of them necessarily need to do it. I think that they have. What's up?
I think it's more for the fans.
Yeah, for the fans, and if you really feel like God is calling you to do something, then you're going to do it, right? Like you're going to try to do it because God's calling you to do it. And if you don't feel that tug and you don't feel that calling, then it might feel forced. It might feel like you're not doing it for any spiritual reason, and so I'm sure that they're probably wrestling with those things, because what they are doing, it looks like, is a lot of ministry. It does look like they're doing ministries outside of anything Cutlass related, and perhaps God is just leading them to do those things and make those things more of a priority than rolling out all the new songs. If that's the case, hey, you got to respect that. At the end of the day, their walk with God is their walk with God, and getting anything Cutlass, getting anything 1,000-Foot Crutch, getting anything Pillar is just a grace from God that we get to enjoy these things, and we can pray that God's going to use it for the non-believer to lead them to Him. But with Cutlass in particular, I think it'll happen, but I think it'll happen in their own timing. Their songs were too good not to keep going. They're one of those bands as well. Like, they have worship albums, right? You've heard their worship albums, right?
Yeah, like It Is Well.
It Is Well. Such a great
album.
Oh yeah. So they've had some worship albums, but then they were like some of the pioneers of bringing Christian rock into the forefront of music with Treason and
Heart of the Innocent.
Yeah, Hearts of the Innocent, such amazing, heavy, fun albums. Shut Me Out, like fun stuff, you guys. And then they went a little heavier with To Know That You're Alive, and then they kind of went in that more worship route for a couple of albums. And their new stuff is like, it's heavy. It is heavy.
That worship stuff on steroids.
It is old Cutlass on steroids. It is heavy. It's epic. It's in like drop A tuning. It's low tuning as well. You have to check them out, especially their new stuff. They also released new versions of their old songs, updated versions of Your Touch. Yeah. Tonight and Sea of Faces. So
there was also a year that they were like the rock act on Winter Jam too. I remember that.
Yeah. So definitely check them out. And I think it's one of those things too, where it's like, hey, if they're putting out a little bit of things and no one's really making any buzz about it, maybe they don't feel encouraged to keep going with it. I don't know if that's the case in this situation. So if we want more, maybe it'll be good to just be more vocal about it. Their new songs were "End of the World" and "Words of Fire," and I would say like I would recommend you go check those songs out. Like stream it out, make it explode, and let's get their attention and be like, no, yeah, we want you to come back. We want you to write new music. And again, it's up to them. It's all on them for sure. But but they're another band that's my childhood. Hearts of the Innocent, Sea of Faces. The
song I was going to share is Run. That's a great song.
Yeah. Run is such a great song. So emotional. A place I think we've all been before in our walk with God, where we kind of stray away a little bit, and God's just telling us, why are you going to run? Why do you hide? I just want to be with you.
Exactly.
That'll be my last pick is Cutlass, and go check out their new versions of the songs.
Corporate needs you to find the differences between this picture and this picture. They're the same picture.
And their newest songs. Let's get their attention and say, come back. Keep making
make sure
music,
to check
please.
out Nate's stuff too. And make sure to check out Nate's stuff too. It's different than Cutlass. It's more like punk rock, but still check it out.
It's still rock. It's still good stuff to listen to. And he's wearing his heart on his sleeve for these songs. So definitely blow him up too, because he's a good guy and he deserves it for sure.
Okay. We just have a few extra minutes. I'm just gonna drop some names that we didn't talk about that I had on lists that we weren't gonna bring up. This one kind of had Christian elements in the song. I mean, they're on 50-50 Christian. Some people say they're Christian, some people say they're not. But 12 Stones was one I had on my list at one point.
Hey, yeah, they're great.
So that was one I was gonna bring up. Ashes Remain, who's making a comeback.
Great band.
And stay tuned. I'm kind of working with them to get them on the podcast. They're
Ooh.
looking for interviews, kind of in a way, and they said they'll let me know after the holidays. So stay tuned if you're watching this. And Marie was another one I had on the list.
Okay.
So, and there's a lot more bands out there. Do you have anyone that like rapid fire one or two that you didn't say that you?
Yeah. I mean, Anne Boleyn's a great band to throw in this kind of a list because they're not metal or anything like that. And they've got some great songs. Stephen Christian's a pastor now, and he's taken a back seat. And Matty Mullins from Memphis Mayfire is actually taking his spot. I plan on talking about that whole thing on Sanctify Studios, so that'll be a fun conversation to have. So Anne Boleyn for sure. Ivory Line, if you've never heard of that band. Ivory Line is another great band to listen to. They're not together anymore. 1-2 punch kind of an album thing, two albums. And the lead singer said that he pretty much just kind of said what he needed to say, and that's it. So that's cool. You mentioned Sent by Ravens. That's another great one. Want to reiterate that. And
there's a Christian band that used to be really big Christian. They kind of opened that Winter Jam. The last one I was going to bring up is Viridia.
Oh, yeah.
They had a couple of good albums. That Mechanical Planet EP was one of the best EPs I've heard in Christian rock scene.
Yeah. Really great stuff.
And then the Christian rock space is changing ever so much too. We didn't touch on them. They're a little heavier, but there's Heal to Hurt now. There's Convictions. There's No Treaty, who just released their debut EP. That's really good.
No Treaty is going to be the new for today for sure. Like Convictions, No Treaty, Bloodlines, like those are carrying the mantle that Sleeping Giant and for today were carrying before.
Amongst Wolves Amongst Giants is another one I was going to bring up.
Amongst the Giants, yeah, definitely.
And that's 7 Day Slumber. That's Blaze from 7 Day Slumber, who's Joseph's son. For those who are watching.
Yeah, and Marco Pera and Brian Boyd. Marco Pera has been playing bass off and on with Disciple for the past couple of years, I think. So he's a bro playing with Spoken too. Spoken's great one to put on the list too.
And then a couple, Scarlet White, the lead singer, tragically died a few years ago, but they were great. Silent Planet, it's another one.
Oh yeah, that's all. That's definitely all leaning in the metal direction.
Yeah, we're going more in the metal direction. But I told you guys we would touch a little bit on that, so I was just giving you guys some bands out more in the metal scene that we just didn't have time to talk about because the genre is so broad and there's so much you can talk about, but we have so little time. Adam, thanks for joining in on this conversation. It was a great time to have this conversation on episode number 100. But
dude, I was excited. I'm glad that I got to do this. I'm gonna put this up on the screen real quick. Hold on, let me see, or at least on my screen. And
can you screen share?
Can I screen share? I can.
We're
I can actually.
Zoom. We're recording this via Zoom. If any of you are listening.
Yeah, let me see if I can just put up a window on mine, and that way, there we go. Okay, so I'm gonna bring up just my window with the with our picks, or unless you have it. Do you have the picks?
I don't have the picks.
Okay, no worries. Untitled, no screen for Mac, untitled pages.
I know we're kind of blabbering under here, but here we go. Here's the final list.
Hey, can you see it?
Yeah, I can see it. You spelled Kirch. I'm sorry, I'm correcting your spelling.
That I spelled something wrong?
You spelled Crutch, Krurtch. I'm sorry.
Crutch. Crutch. Okay, so
it's okay.
There we go. Sorry.
I was just trying to be funny. I'm sorry.
All right, so my picks again were 1,000 Foot Kirch and Waverly, Pillar, and Fireflight, and Cutlass. And then Brendan's were Skillet, House of Heroes, Disciple, The Letter Black, and Seventh Day Slumber. So yeah, you will have to decide who won out this time. Would you want to be on Adam's team, or would you want to be on Brendan's team?
And if there's any rock bands we missed and that you enjoy listening to, please drop them in the comments. Give recommendations for all the comment people. And I appreciate you guys all tuning into this episode of the Christian Music Bros podcast. And we'll see you next time on the podcast. Take care, everybody.
So long.